6:06 on your Monday morning. Good morning, everybody. Bloomdaddy here. My man Paul Morgan is off today, and Big K is sitting in for him, and I'm going to introduce you to Big K here in a couple of minutes. But first off, over the weekend, I threw a couple things on Facebook, and I never know what to expect when I throw things on there, different topics. Well, this topic kind of took off, and I was on the fence with it, and it's one of the topics that I'm going to be hitting during the show today, and that is a new Gallup poll is out there saying that 82% of managers, bosses out there, are not competent when it comes to being a good boss. And I'm going to tell you the reasons why and what you need to do about it if you're found in that situation, because I think you've probably been in that situation once or twice during your career. But I decided to put a twist on it and go the other direction because sometimes I feel like I'm just too negative. I always take the negative route on some topics on here. So I thought I would turn it and go the positive route. And that is, have you ever worked for a great boss? And if so, what made that individual great? And that's how I phrased it on Facebook, Bloomdaddy on Facebook. And I was overwhelmed by how many responses we had, and pretty much all of them said the same thing regarding a great boss. And that is somebody who is willing to do any job that they make you do. But Robert kind of summed it up. He said some people are natural good leaders, others are not. It's amazing how a great boss can make a job go from being hell to heaven and actually increasing production and the overall well-being of the workplace. And it's so true. I mean, when you think about jobs you've had and people that you have worked under, male or female, a good boss does make it or break it. A good boss, when it comes to atmosphere, when it comes to morale, is the key to productivity. And I think all too many times, people in management positions don't put enough value on morale. They don't put enough value on making their workers feel a part of something and proud to come to work. And the ironic thing here is when I was taking a look at this topic, most people who get promoted, according to this Gallup poll, are very good at what they do. Yet they make bad managers. The reason being, you can be very good at what you do, but you might not have the skill set to translate that into teaching and overseeing personnel. So just being good at your job doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be good at being a boss. It's going to be one of your main topics coming up on the show today. All right, your big time stories out there. Number one, you have a fatality in Marshall County, a mine collapse. This was at the Cameron Portal. The fatality was one of 3 people initially reported to be in that collapse in Marshall County. You had 1 injured miner transported by helicopter to Ruby Memorial Hospital in Morgantown. The mine's roof and the wall collapsed. Now, this is a Murray Energy mine. They released a brief statement Sunday evening. I'm going to give you that statement coming up in a couple of minutes. Your other big stories out there. California Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein suggested that Hillary Clinton is hurting herself by not publicly addressing revelations that she used a private email service during her time as Secretary of State. Now, over the weekend, you had a number of different politicians weighing in on this story. This is the number one story out of D.C. right now. As a matter of fact, 2 live reports from D.C. this morning for you. One with Joe Gomez, 24/7 News Network, national correspondent. That's going to come your way at 6:35. And then we're going to be talking to Jeff Birnbaum, Washington Times columnist, coming up at 8:35 about this topic. But you have one of the top Democrats out there calling Hillary out, pretty much saying, look, just come forward, say what the situation is, and then maybe everybody can move on. You had California GOP Congressman Darrell Issa saying that Hillary could face criminal charges if she knowingly withholds emails from congressional investigators. He noted that voluntary cooperation does not guarantee it's a crime not to deliver all the requested emails. You had former Secretary of State Colin Powell saying over the weekend he had no record of his State Department email messages. He said, I don't have any of them. I don't have to turn over anything. I didn't keep a cache of them. I did not print them off. I did not have thousands of pages somewhere in my personal files. He said, what I did when I entered the State Department, I found an antiquated system that had to be modernized and modernized quickly. Then all of a sudden he was asked about Hillary's situation. He said, can't speak about that. He kind of withheld. Now, some Democrats are saying she didn't break any laws, and this is all political because she is the presidential favorite in 2016. As I mentioned, 2 live reports coming up a little bit later. Here's the problem for Hillary. For years, she was telling, and her department was telling, underlings, those in her department, not to use personal email. They even ousted an ambassador back in 2011, in part over his Gmail habits. Yet, it seems she's ignoring her own advice. It's a major double standard during her tenure. You could go back to an internal 2011 State Department cable showing that Clinton's office told employees not to use personal email for security reasons. And if nothing else, it raises transparency questions for Clinton that could hang over her political future as she nears a likely presidential run. As I mentioned, one of your top stories today. ISIS. We can't go a day without an ISIS story, right? Destroying, defacing, looting important religious, cultural sites. It's being characterized by a lot of experts out there as a cultural cleansing. They're trying to wipe out all signs of civilization that do not conform to their pre-Islamic view of society. So in Syria, Iraq, Libya, number of important historical sites being wiped out. The big sports news over the weekend, the Kentucky Wildcats. They finished their regular season in a way that no other Division I college basketball team has in nearly 40 years, and that is undefeated. They beat Florida 67-50 over the weekend. That makes them 31-0. That's the first time a power conference team completed a loss-free campaign since Indiana in 75-76. And of course, none of it's going to matter if they don't win 6 games later this month and in April, finishing with an NCAA tournament championship. And how about Ndamukong Suh? Apparently leaving the Detroit Lions for the Miami Dolphins, 6 years, $114 million. The first 3 years, $60 million of that is guaranteed. This will be the largest contract ever for a defensive player. The $60 million guaranteed, second only to San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick. All right, back to your top story today, and that's the mine collapse. You know, it doesn't matter where you are in the tri-state area, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, whenever you hear of a mine collapse, it's something that I think hits home. Because everybody out there knows somebody who works in a coal mine or had a family member who at one point in time worked in a coal mine. What we know right now, 1 dead, 3 injured. Murray Energy owns the mine. They released a statement Sunday evening reading in part. An accident occurred at the county's coal company, Marshall County Mine near Cameron, West Virginia. Details of any possible injuries currently not known, but they are being investigated. This is a brutal reminder, and I started thinking about this last night when I first heard about this at about 10:30 at night. It's a brutal reminder of the dangers associated with this profession. And when I first heard, I immediately thought about the families of the people who work at this site, who were working during this shift. These families thinking, wondering, is that their husband, son, dad, brother, uncle, cousin trapped? Are they dead? Are they alive? Horrific situation to be in. Wondering if your loved one of the ones injured or possibly dead. Rushing to the mine to find out, not knowing. Reminded me of every other mine collapse throughout the years. Families rushing to the site, waiting outside, crying, wondering, hoping. I've done stories when I was in TV, taking a look back at different mine collapses, talking to different people, and they said it was one of the most horrific situations of their entire life. The not knowing part. And here's another situation like that. Prayers without a doubt going out to the family and families of everybody here involved. 15 after the hour, you're listening to Bloomdaddy, 1-800-624-1170, Bloomdaddy at iHeartMedia.com. A way to handle an exploding deer population in Mount Lebanon as people protesting, even resorting to vandalism. I'm going to describe to you what's being done to the deer, why it's simply the right thing to do. And could your boss be a star in Horrible Bosses 3? It's one of your main topics coming up.
News Radio 1170 WWBA.
Rush. According to the left-wing magazine Mother Jones, those of you who eat 3 square meals a day should stop. If you think eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner is good for you, you're wrong. Makes you sick. It's anti-science. And, it's racist. You heard me. If you consume 3 basic meals every day, you are engaging in racist behavior. Now, this racism began when white European settlers came to our shores, bringing with them their eating habits. In the morning, they had a light meal, sometimes cold mush, radishes. And then at midday, they had a heavier cooked meal, no doubt cooked by women. They were sexist, too. And then the last meal of the day was another light meal. The native tribes, however, the Indians, were smarter. They snacked during the day. They followed the seasons, sometimes eating more, sometimes less, as the seasons changed. When food was scarce, they fasted. And since they were natives, they were healthier than the white Europeans. But that didn't stop those racist white Europeans from laughing at the native tribes. They considered them uncivilized. They even watched the natives eat as a form of entertainment. Now, according to Mother Jones, the natives were right. Science supports their way of eating, not the white Europeans. So stop your racism. Stop eating breakfast. Skip lunch. Lay off the cold mush and the radishes. Just snack and eat with the seasons. And remember to fast, especially when there's no food around. Think and eat like a native Indian. That's going to be a lot of corn, folks.
Not available in California, Louisiana, and Virginia.
Listeners, do you have startup capital and want to invest in a booming business with incredible profit and growth potential? The opportunity is now because Fresh Healthy Vending, the #1 healthy vending franchise in North America, is looking for a few business-savvy, healthy-minded people right here in the local area to become Fresh Healthy Vending franchise owners. We're growing so fast that we've had hundreds of new franchise owners in the last few years alone. Now you can join them. This area has a huge demand for fresh, healthy, organic snacks on the go, and that's exactly what you'll be selling with your Fresh Healthy Vending machines. We've already identified prime high-traffic locations that are perfect for healthy vending machines. Now we just need the right people to join our franchise network and help Fresh Healthy Vending continue to boom. If this sounds like you, go to readyforfresh.com today and enter code 8181. We'll send you a free owner information kit. As an added bonus to new franchise owners, we'll also pay half the franchise fees. Hurry, this offer is limited. Just go to readyforfresh.com and enter code 8181. That's readyforfresh.com, code 8181.
News Radio 1170 WWVA.
When it comes to United Dairy products, quality is the first thing that comes to mind. Hey everybody, it's Bloomdaddy. Their products are pure, from local farms, fresh. United Dairy strives to have milk from the farm to the fridge within 24 hours. And United Dairy's farmers pledge not to use any artificial growth hormones, ensuring you get a safe, high-quality product. A product that gives you 8 grams of protein in just 1 8-ounce glass of milk. So when you shop for your dairy products, make sure they say United Dairy. Treat your family right. Make United Dairy your choice.
It could be your little one with a bump or bruise. Maybe a coworker had a terrible accident and surgery is needed now. It could be you with chest pain. At Wheeling Hospital, we've seen just about every type of emergency. On average, every 11 minutes someone comes to us needing help. We treat more patients than any other hospital in our market. In fact, more than any 2 hospitals combined. People know us. They trust us. The Emergency Trauma Center at Wheeling Hospital.
Hi, Roy Clennon, founder of Mortgage Solutions Financial. At Mortgage Solutions Financial, we have a team of mortgage experts whose passion for excellence has resulted in a 97% customer satisfaction rating. But enough about us. Let's talk about your needs and what Mortgage Solutions Financial can do for you. The Home Affordability Refinance Program, HARP, is still alive and well. And even those people that have been turned down in the past may now be eligible. The rules have changed. Mortgage Solutions Financial is the undisputed local refinance leader. And if you're looking to refinance, even if somebody else has turned you down, give us a call. We're a direct lender and eliminate the middleman. Call Mortgage Solutions Financial today. You'll be glad you did.
Call Mortgage Solutions Financial today. Call 304-238-5500. That's 304-238-5500. Or visit online, msfhome.com. NMLS license number 61602. LO NMLS 6653. Call Mortgage Solutions Financial today. 304-238-5500.
Call Karen DeRosa, the go-to agent at Harvey Goodman Realtor. Highest dollar selling agent from 2008 through 2013. Call 740-296-0062 or go to KarenDeRosa.com.
Bloomdaddy.
(620) 1-800-624-1170, Bloomdaddy at iHeartMedia.com. All right, my man Paul Morgan has a day off today, and Big K filling in for him. How you doing, my man?
Not too bad.
Yeah, early morning wake-up call, huh?
Yeah, I wish I have the deep voice, because when I'm on the air on the country station in the afternoon, my voice is shot by then, doing all those commercials. And
so it's really going to be shot by now then, later today.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
It's going to be difficult.
What time did that alarm go off this morning, buddy?
Encourage people. I was up at 2:30.
What?
I was watching on the HLN, the investigative forensic files thing. Yeah, at
so
2:30.
So was it one of those situations where you're filling in, you're worried about not getting up, or you're just, it's something,
yes,
new you got to do and you just couldn't sleep?
That's exactly it.
Man,
and I knew it was only one day, so I'm
nappy,
all right.
Nappy time later. You know what? Well, I'm glad you're in here today because you are technically a boss here. You're technically, I guess,
I'm a department head.
A department head.
Yeah,
okay.
there you go.
So there's a new Gallup poll out saying that 82% of managers are not competent when it comes to being a good boss. And basically it says that people get promoted because they're good at what they do, not because they have any kind of talent for doing it through others. And I sat here and I thought about, different situation I've been in. You've been doing this for a long time. You've worked under a number of different bosses.
It's 30 years.
30 years. Wow.
This month.
All right, so out of those 30 years, is there one guy, because I want to put a different twist on this. I don't want to be negative. I don't want to take the negative angle. And I'm going to throw some positive stories from people on Facebook, Bloomdaddy on Facebook. But was there one guy in particular, and you don't have to name names, whether it be here or anywhere else, that you felt was a good boss? And if so, what made him good?
Yes, there was one here. And I think it was because I was just starting out. I was in college. And this person understood that and really did, make sure I knew everything I needed to know.
So took the time to teach?
Took the time to teach. And I think what's wrong now is the time isn't there for the managers to do that.
It's a very good point.
Yeah.
Why is that though? Why is that? Why do you think?
They're overworked and there are a lot of situations where, companies are kind of understaffed. And
so they lose people, they don't replace them, and they throw more job titles on people, and you don't have the time. No, that's a very valid point.
And also in management, the manager's job description probably isn't as defined as it used to be like 20 years ago.
Right.
Like you can't look at, okay, here are my responsibilities, because as a manager, you're responsible for basically everything.
Right.
Anymore. And also, I think sometimes, I'm not talking about here, but sometimes I think management kind of looks on HR, human resources, as, well, they're the ones that should be,
right,
doing the camaraderie or, the moralities, the morality, I guess is what's the word.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying. I think the point you made about not having the time to really focus or teach on individual employees is a big one, because so many people are wearing so many different hats when it comes to management. A couple of other very good points too. Bloomdaddy on Facebook, Suzanne said this. Yeah, his personality made it so I wanted to always strive for excellence because I didn't want to disappoint. Great bosses are a rarity. Appreciate them when you have the luck to have one. Robert said this. What I liked about my boss was his style and his honesty. He told you exactly the way it was, no sugarcoating. He still will work right beside you. He always said this, never give a job to a person you first wouldn't do yourself. I think that's important.
Oh, yeah.
When a boss shows that he or she is willing to do whatever they want to do, and it brought back a moment when I walked into a restaurant one time, and this was a restaurant where I knew the owner, and the owner happened to be a local mayor and a businessman. He owned the place, okay? His family owned the place. I walk into this restaurant, I'm eating, I go to the bathroom. Somebody had, I guess, gotten sick in the bathroom. Not because of his food.
No.
Let me point that out. Anyway, they had vomited all over the bathroom. And as I walk in there, I see this and I look up, and who do I see standing there with a mop? But the mayor, the guy who owns the restaurant, cleaning it up. He's in a suit. He's in there cleaning it up. And I remember looking at him and I go, don't you have somebody you pay to do that? Exactly. And he looked right at me without blinking and he said, I'm not going to make somebody else do this. He goes, I'm going to do this. And I thought, that's the kind of guy you want to work for. That's the kind of guy that's going to get the respect of other people out there. Unfortunately, and based on this Gallup poll, 82% of managers don't always have those qualities. Does that number seem extremely high to you?
It seems extremely high, and I'm kind of wondering who the respondents were for that.
Well, they took a look. I think they interviewed about 2,000 people, employees, and they came back with 82% of managers not competent when it comes to being a good boss. And they said whenever you get a guy or a gal who suffers from high levels of stress and they yell, let's go with the yelling boss.
Okay.
I said there's 3 things you need to do to handle a yelling boss. Number 1, don't take it personally.
Right. Exactly.
Number 2, never take the bait. Don't match the tone.
Exactly.
Don't go back at them. Just kind of sit and take it and just realize that maybe they're just blowing off some steam. And number 3 is seek out guidance. Usually they're just frustrated. So if the yelling boss can't actually answer the question of what do you want me to do, they're not managing. In other words, they're saying just wait till the dust settles, and then maybe go back to them later and say, okay, you were upset about this, kind of what can I do?
Who knows? They may be remorseful for yelling at you.
You never know.
Yeah.
You do never know.
See, I come from an Italian family, so everybody yells anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You could yell at me all day long.
Everybody's out there screaming, yelling. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to give you some more Facebook feedback a little bit later in the show, and then I want to open up the phone lines probably in the 7 o'clock hour. And again, I don't want to focus on the negative here. I kind of want to go with the positive, and that is, have you ever had a great boss? And if so, what made them great? All right, another story I want to hit on today. This one's out of Mount Lebanon, where police are investigating people caught on camera spraying deer culling corrals and bait with deer repellent and urine. Why? Well, because since late February, Mount Lebanon has worked on a plan to capture and kill deer on municipal land. They're trying to reduce vehicle collisions by 50%. Now, this is another story. It doesn't matter where you live in America. You have to deal, more than likely, with a growing deer population, and pretty much I can guarantee you've had at least a close encounter, if not hit a deer. And you've had to pay for the fix to your vehicle, or your premium went up, what have you. So they're trying to do something about this. So they have a contract with wildlife specialists that will pay $500 per deer killed. Maximum of 150 deer, $75,000 through March 31st. And it's from the Pennsylvania Game Commission. It allows trapping, corralling, culling deer through the end of September. So there are people who are calling this inhumane and ineffective, and they have staged peaceful protest. But there's also people who are going to these automatic feeders and corrals, spraying the area with either urine or deer or rabbit repellent to keep the deer away from the corrals, because they feel it's inhumane. When you take a look at the numbers, I mean, we all know that a growing deer population is a major problem. The top 10 states for fatalities in deer collisions from 1994 to 2013. If you take a look at the top 10 states, Pennsylvania has been in the top 10 13 times. Twice they've been second, only to Texas. If you take a look at one period between July 1st of 2011, June 30th of 2012, Pennsylvania motorists hit more deer than drivers in any other state, an estimated 115,000. Michigan was second at 97,000. You're talking about 17,000 more deer collisions than the second place state. You had 1.2 million total last year. And here's the deal. I'm a deer hunter. Yet it pains me every time I shoot one, because they are beautiful creatures. They don't bother a soul, although farmers will beg to differ. So you're not listening to somebody who's sitting here saying, kill them, without a soul. What you're listening to is somebody with a soul saying, kill them, because you have to. Deer get out of control, and it results in property and crop damage. And the last time I checked, there is not a humane way to do it. You can't drive a car into a field, stick a banana in a tailpipe, say, hey guys, get in, and let them fall asleep. It doesn't work that way. It's 30 after the hour. You're listening to Bloomdaddy. More on that story coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. When I come back, Hillary, the email controversy. We are going live to Washington, D.C. with Joe Gomez.
News Radio 1170 WWVA. More local coverage starts right now.
Good morning. I'm Charles Van Sant. One person is dead in a Marshall County mine collapse that happened Sunday evening. The Office of Emergency Management confirmed the death to News 9. 2 other people were in the mine, but there's no word on their condition. The accident was at the Marshall County Coal Company mine near Cameron. Trial set for August for a man and his son charged with soliciting someone to kill a West Virginia lawmaker. 49-year-old Darrell Palmer of Inwood and 21-year-old Matthew Palmer of Renson are accused of soliciting 2 men to kill Delegate Stephen Skinner. Men and women of the 336th Engineer Company chip in to expand the Veterans Memorial Park parking lot in Weirton.
Park president George Ash says he's been asked for years to expand parking, but never had the money to do so. The expansion Saturday took about 7 hours. The engineer company plans to paint the various fighter planes sitting in the park sometime during the spring. I'm Charles Van Sant. That's what's making the news right now.
Politics, Left, Right, Center is being brought to you by your local Domino's Pizza. Now, you know they have great pizza, but they also have tremendous sandwiches. Stop in, try the Italian chicken parm, or many others. You can stop in or give them a call. Politics, Left, Right, Center, brought to you by your local Domino's Pizza.
This report is brought to you by iHeart Media.
Looking for a way to increase your business? Ever thought about advertising on radio? iHeart Media can customize a campaign to meet your specific needs. Call 844-BUY-RADIO. That's 844-BUY-RADIO. Or go to iHeartMedia.com.
Hey, it's Bloomdaddy. I love shopping at the Highlands. And why wouldn't I? Whether it's a great meal at Logan's Steakhouse, Cheddar's, the Olive Garden, or numerous other eateries, or great deals at Sleep Outfitters, Petco, Penny's, and Target, to name a few, it's worth the trip to Exit 10 right off I-70. And while I'm at the Highlands, I always try to catch the latest movie at the Marquee Cinemas and definitely stop in at Cabela's, even if it's just to see the mounts and fish in the aquariums. Make the Highlands a destination stop for your family. The Highlands, right off I-70, Exit 10. King's Auto Glass. That's all you have to tell your insurance company when you need your automobile glass repaired. Because remember, it's your decision. And why wouldn't you say King's Auto Glass when you consider they're locally owned and operated, and they're a full-service glass shop offering 24-hour emergency service. As a matter of fact, King's Auto Glass has 4 locations around the valley, and they will provide service from Pittsburgh to Columbus. And here's the best part. They love me. So if you're a cash-paying customer, and you mention me, Bloomdaddy, you will get 10% off. How's that?
Thomas Auto Centers has gone mad. Totally mad. That's total madness. Thomas Auto Centers will pay top dollar for any trade. We won't be undersold. Drive away with a new vehicle at Thomas. Whatever it takes. Whatever unbelievable deals get you to drive away in a new car. Thomas Auto Centers is giving away flat screen TVs, 3 years worth of oil changes, a full tank of gas, and a lifetime warranty with any purchase. Thomas Auto Centers is totally mad enough to make you a deal. Get to Thomas in St. Clairsville before these deals are gone.
Hi, I'm Dave Yonick from Yonick's RV. I'd like to personally invite you to our indoor heated showroom.
Come browse through the area's largest selection of travel trailers, fifth wheels, and toy haulers. Choose from names like Windjammer, Copper Canyon, Nomad, Sprinter, Rockwood, Sportsman by KZ, Durango, Puma, and more.
Selection, sales, and service. We've got it all at Yonick's RV.
Yonick's RV, just 9 miles south of St. Clairsville on Route 9, or on the web at yonicksrv.com.
Save half with discount deals at newsradio1170.com. Beginning Friday at 9 a.m., get a $25 gift certificate for Rutten Buck's Grill for only $12.50. Rutten Buck's Grill with the best ribs in the valley. Thursday is steak night, pound and pint. 16-ounce steak, 16-ounce beer with tater and salad for $16. Rutten Buck's Grill, the place for damn good grub. I-70 exit 11 Dallas Pike, 304-909-0101. Go to newsradio1170.com. Click on the discount deals link and save. The forecast is next from the Danoon Lumber and Danoon.com Weather Center.
This message is brought to you by XTO Energy. XTO Energy. XTO Energy develops energy safely. The safety of our employees, contractors, and neighbors is a top priority during every phase of our operations. For more information, visit xtoenergy.com.
WWVA, Ohio Valley Traffic and Weather. In Belmont County, the Marion Street project in Bridgeport continues. Drivers should expect various ramp closures to and from Interstate 70 during the work. Posted detour signs will be in place. Truck traffic should use Interstate 470. In Jefferson County, a portion of State Route 7 north of Brilliant will be closed for several minutes daily, weather permitting, for blasting work. Expect possible delays in that area. If you see a traffic problem, call the Road Report tip line at 304-214-TIPS.
Bloomdaddy.
6:35. Hope you're having a great Monday morning. Thanks so much for joining me. Bloomdaddy here, 1-800-624-1170. Your top stories out there. You have 1 fatality in a mine collapse in Marshall County at the Cameron Portal. 1 dead, 2 injured. The mine's roof and wall collapsed. As we get more information, we will pass it on to you. The other big story out of D.C. is controversy over Hillary Clinton's use of personal email during her tenure as Secretary of State. That continues to swirl around here. Let's go live to D.C. right now with national correspondent Joe Gomez of 24/7 News. Joe, good morning.
Oh, good morning.
All right, so did what she did, is it illegal, and are criminal charges soon to follow?
Well, that's kind of up in the air as to whether or not there's going to be any criminal charges pursued against her. Right now, it just seems at least to be some kind of a violation of protocol, because it wasn't until last year that an edict was passed down that Secretary of States have to use government email. But even so, there is some concern that because she was using personal email, that perhaps she could have been hiding something, that we're not going to be able to see or find out exactly all of the emails that were going on between her and dignitaries or State Department officials. And Republican lawmakers say that could also suggest that she might have deleted some emails, especially when it comes to looking into the Benghazi attacks. That's been one of the big ones. And over the weekend, one of her close allies, in fact, Senator Dianne Feinstein, top Democrat, says that Clinton's ambition for the White House could be hurt if she doesn't finally break the silence. So that was pretty huge coming out from one of her close friends.
You have other Democrats out there, Joe, saying, look, she didn't do anything criminal. No other Secretary of State's been hammered over emails. This is purely political.
Right. But there has been a former ambassador to Kenya who was Scott Grayson. He actually lost his job because he used Gmail to conduct government business. So he's accusing the State Department of basically using a double standard. And I mean, email has grown since the days of Secretary of State Colin Powell, who also used a personal email to communicate. But right now, everybody uses email to communicate. And so there was a possibility that she could have been a victim to a cyber attack, that because of the delicate information that's now constantly passed over email, that they would like to know exactly what was going on. And I know the chair of the Special Committee of the House that's dedicated to looking into the Benghazi attacks says there's one particular concern he has, that there's a gap in the emails that they have not received from the Clintons, and that was during a trip to Libya in 2011. Those emails have not been released, and that was during the time when she took a well-known photograph of her looking into her BlackBerry with those sunglasses, now been turned into a popular internet meme. Now, because she was under subpoena during that time, she could face legal charges if those emails aren't handed over.
We're talking to 24/7 News Network national correspondent Joe Gomez live from D.C. Joe, you brought up a good point, and that is the double standard. You go back to that internal 2011 State Department cable. You were talking about Scott Grayson being fired. I mean, it shows a double standard. I mean, her office told employees not to use personal email for security reasons, yet she does.
Right, and there's a question as to why that was. Why did she feel as though she could get away with using a private email, and then she's firing others for doing exactly that? So I think until we actually hear from Clinton, she's been silent about this. President Bill Clinton has also been silent about this. It really has been nothing from the Hillary camp at all, talking about what she uses private email. And so that's why I think that Democrats want to see, or at least one Democrat wants to see her talk about this and finally open the air, because it could potentially hurt her. I mean, this story certainly has legs. It was everything that it was talked about on the Sunday talk shows was about Hillary Clinton. And I think that if down the road, if she doesn't finally open up and address this issue directly, it could impact her, could show weakness, could also open up the door for perhaps a challenger to come out.
All right, Joe Gomez, I always appreciate it. That's Joe Gomez, 24/7 News Network national correspondent out of D.C. Now, Joe brought up the Sunday talk shows. What's being said about this situation? He did mention California Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein suggesting that Hillary's hurting herself, said just talk about it. Come forward, say what the situation is. You had California GOP Congressman Darrell Issa saying that she could face criminal charges if she knowingly withholds emails from congressional investigators. He also noted that voluntary cooperation does not guarantee that it's a crime not to deliver all the requested emails. Former Secretary of State Colin Powell weighed in somewhat. He was questioned about this. He said he had no record of his State Department email messages. His exact quote, "I don't have any of them. I don't have any to turn over. I did not keep a cache of them. I did not print them off. I do not have thousands of pages somewhere in my personal files. What I did when I entered the State Department, I found an antiquated system that had to be modernized, and modernized quickly." Then he was asked about Hillary's situation. He said, can't talk about that. Can't speak to Mrs. Clinton and what she should do now. That would be inappropriate. So you have the double standard angle here, and then you just simply have the transparency angle. And that is something that the Obama administration ran on, and they have been one of the least transparent administrations that I can remember. And now you're heading into 2016. People want more transparency, and the leading contender on the Democratic side not being transparent. think it's going to be a huge issue. I can tell you it's going to be a huge issue Wednesday on Politics Left, Right, Center with Republican Shane Thompson and Democrat Dave Castle. A couple of other top stories out there for you on this Monday morning. ISIS terrorists, what would it be on a Monday without talking about ISIS, right? Destroying, defacing, looting important religious cultural sites. It's kind of a cultural cleansing to wipe out all signs of civilization that do not conform to their pre-Islamic view of society. In Syria, you have satellite images showing several World Heritage sites in Syria now irreparably damaged or destroyed. These things were founded in the early 3rd century BC in Iraq. Propaganda video released by ISIS last week showing the terrorists taking sledgehammers, jackhammers to statues and other items in Iraq. And in Libya, officials are fearing a large number of important historical sites are going to be targeted for destruction. The big sports news over the weekend, Kentucky goes undefeated, 31-0, and Ndamukong Suh. Now, the free agency period, the start of signing is Tuesday. It's tomorrow. But behind the scenes, the news is that the 5-year defensive tackle from Detroit is going to sign the biggest defensive contract ever with the Miami Dolphins. Record-breaking deal when free agency officially opens on Tuesday. 6 years, $114 million. $60 million guaranteed in the first 3 years. It's the largest contract ever for a defensive player. It's bigger than J.J. Watt with Houston. The $60 million guaranteed is second only to Colin Kaepernick, 49ers quarterback. If you take a look at what Ndamukong Suh has done over 5 years, it's pretty impressive. 239 tackles, 36 sacks. That is number one for all defensive linemen. He's been an All-Pro 3 times, Pro Bowl player 4 times, and he has played in every game except for 2 in 5 years. The 2 games he didn't play in because of suspension. So durability-wise, this guy is the real deal, to say the least. $60 million guaranteed. Miami already has 2 great corner pass rushers. You throw him in the middle, all of a sudden they become a formidable force, without a doubt. The thing you have to watch with Suh is the temper, because he is known as the dirtiest player in the NFL. But as you know from seeing various stories, whether it be drug abuse, temper problems, what have you, if you have talent in the NFL, somebody is going to pay you. 43 after the hour, you're listening to Bloomdaddy, 1-800-624-1170. Could your boss be a star in Horrible Bosses 3? There's a new Gallup poll out there saying the vast majority of bosses out there are horrible. Why is that? What can you do about it? And I'm going to turn this around for a second coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. As I ask you, have you ever worked for a great boss? And if so, what made them great? I'm going to have some Bloomdaddy on Facebook feedback on this one for you, plus a live interview at 7:35 with workplace culture expert David Torrance. Hey, what's alcohol? What are the positives and negatives? Why are some states already banning it before it hits the shelves? You're going to find out at 6:50.
Radio 1170 WWVA. If it won't start, if you're holding the bumper on with duct tape and the trunk is tied shut with an old shoelace, push, pull, or drag it into A&B Kia, and it's your down payment on any new or pre-owned vehicle during our big push, pull, or drag sales event. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need a cash down payment. Push, pull, or drag your old clunker into A&B Kia. Always shop in comfort in the Valley's only total indoor showroom, where it's 70 degrees all the time. Payments starting at $149 per month. You want trucks? We've got them. A&B is the Valley's pre-owned truck superstore with 1/2 and 3/4 ton, gas and diesel. Check out our large selection of lifted trucks, complete with aftermarket wheels and tires. The push, pull, or drag sales event going on now at A&B Kia, right off the Boggs Run Road exit in Benwood, West Virginia.
The area's best RV selection. Folding campers, travel trailers, fifth wheels, retro trailers. The best names in the business. Coleman, Coachman, Jayco. The Valley's best, most established RV dealer. You deserve the best. Stewart's RV in St. Clairsville. Since 1942, Stewart's RV has been proudly serving the RV needs of the Ohio Valley. And right now is a great time to get a great deal on some of America's favorite RVs at Stewart's RV in St. Clairsville. New Jayco fifth wheels, discounted $10,000 at Stewart's RV. New Jayco travel trailers, Stewart's RV's price, only $99.90 or $129 a month. New Jayco folding trailers, only $59.90 or $89 a month at Stewart's RV. Buy the best. Stewart's RV, I-70 exit 218 in St. Clairsville. Online at stewartsrv.com. Plus tax, title, and license. 84 months at 7.99% APR with 10% down on approved credit.
At Domino's, we're more than just pizza, so mix it up with our chicken, stuffed cheesy bread, sandwiches, pastas, or medium two-topping pizzas for $5.99 each, and we'll mix stand-up comedy with a robot.
Stuffed cheesy bread and my act have a lot in common. They're both super cheesy. Tough crowd.
Order any 2 or more of Domino's 8-piece chicken, stuffed cheesy breads, oven-baked sandwiches, pastas in a dish, or medium two-topping pizzas for just $5.99 each. 2-item minimum. Handmade pan pizza may be extra. You must ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
There's some new people in town, and they mean business. The business of saving you money. Announcing the all-new Straub Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Glendale. Legendary Straub selection, unbeatable Straub service, and incredible Straub savings. Straub, now with 7 brands in 2 locations. Stop in today and meet the new kids in town. Straub Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Route 2 in Glendale. Drive smart. Drive Straub.
OVMC and the East Ohio Regional Hospital are proud to offer the only area program designated as a lung screening center of excellence. An unmatched team with specialized technology to detect lung cancer early and save lives, like the Super Dimension Lung Navigation System and low-dose radiation CT scan. The premier lung screening centers of excellence at OVMC and East Ohio Regional Hospital, where caring is a way of life.
What are you doing right now? Frontier Business Edge knows that if you run your own business, you're probably...
Table for 2, right this way.
I need blueprints.
Or all of that at once. That's why we offer business high-speed internet and phone for just $49.98 a month for qualifying packages with a minimum 1-year agreement, up to 3-year price protection, and 99.9% average uptime. Switch today. Call 1-888-FRONTIER. Limited time offer. Taxes, fees, and other restrictions apply. Subject to availability. Call for details.
More than half of West Virginians don't have jobs, while some millionaire personal injury lawyers are buying private jets. In last year's election, West Virginians voted to reform our lawsuit system, so it works for ordinary people, not personal injury lawyers. Delegate Ryan Weld is supporting an economic recovery package that includes much-needed lawsuit reforms. In this year's legislative session, Delegate Ryan Weld has already cast several votes to help stop lawsuit abuse and create good-paying jobs in our area. West Virginians deserve fair courts and good job opportunities. Please call Delegate Ryan Weld and thank him for voting for more jobs, not more lawsuits. This message was paid for by West Virginia Citizens Against Lawsuit Abuse. For more information, please visit wvkayla.org.
Bloomdaddy.
$49 after the hour on your Monday morning. I have listener emails coming your way in the 7 o'clock hour. Emails pertaining to Bigfoot, racial descriptors, net neutrality, Muslim holidays, bullying, and Iran, like this one. Says Bloomdaddy, with all due respect, sir, what exactly should we do with Iran? Let's make you president for a year. Tell us just exactly what you would do. And please don't just shoot me back an email saying something like, make a parking lot out of Iran. Please tell me and your listeners what should be done. I dare you. Well, I have 3 steps to how we should handle Iran. Step number 1, tell Israel to take care of it. Step number 2, tell Israel to take care of it. And step number 3, tell Israel to take care of it. I'll explain coming up 7 o'clock. TV Hollywood news for you. Number 1, pretty good ratings for the most recent episode of Saturday Night Live hosted by Thor star Chris Hemsworth. Zach Brown Band also on the show. Show pulled on a strong 4.0 share in overall audience, up from last week's show hosted by 50 Shades of Grey star Dakota Johnson. I watched The Walking Dead last night. Now, Paul Morgan, my producer extraordinaire, is out today. Big K is filling in for him. And Big K, I know you're a Walking Dead fan, right?
Big Walking Dead fan.
Did you watch it from the initial season?
I watched it from the second season, then I went back and binged watched.
Okay, because I jumped in season 4. I've never seen any of 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go back and watch 2.
Now next they're coming out with a prequel, I guess. That'll be the next
and
series.
I'll be on with that from day one. But I jumped in late, but I still love it. So last night's episode, nothing like, no major scenes where there's killings, battles, nothing. But I think it set the stage. I think there's only 3 episodes left in this latest season. Set the stage for some bizarre stuff where Rick, the main guy, is almost kind of turning in to a bad guy. The guys, he's turning into what they've always been on the lookout for, and that's other human beings who you can't trust.
Right.
Who are out only for themselves. I mean, there's some really, really good angles being played out right now, some storylines that have me sitting there thinking all hell's gonna break loose, starting with the next episode. But The Walking Dead's probably my favorite series out there right now. But last night and here's the thing, I think they're turning the show from, they have to take another angle because there's only so many zombies you can run from. There's only so many zombies you can shoot before it gets old.
Right.
So now all of a sudden I think they're segueing into trying to rebuild civilization. Like, how can we live with zombies around us outside the walls, sort of thing? And can you all of a sudden establish a sheriff's department? Can you establish order?
Right.
Will people listen? You know what I mean? Like everybody's jockeying for position, for power.
Zombie calling area.
Yeah. You're gonna start spraying zombie urine.
I'm trying to tie it all together. And you're calling Rick a horrible boss now, is basically what you're saying.
Not a horrible boss yet, but he could be. Now you watched last night, Last Man Standing.
Yeah.
Is it Will Forte?
I'm horrible with names. That sounds about right. No, I actually watched the Saturday. There were 2 episodes on Saturday, and then there was one last night. I missed the one last night.
Is it any good?
It's really, really, I like it. It's funny.
Is it funny?
It's very satirical. It's very, just bizarre. You watch the first episode and you think, yeah, if I was the last person on earth, I'd be doing all this stuff. I'd be bowling with lamps.
So that is literally the whole premise. He's the last guy, last guy standing.
And until he meets the last woman on earth.
And then that means the end of everything, doesn't it?
It's getting strange.
At least his freedom. You're a House of Cards fan.
Yes.
Never watched.
Yes. To me, it's like, it's really nice to watch the political theater in an arena where it really doesn't matter what happens, that kind of thing.
Right.
And it really kind of blurs the line between Republicans and Democrats, which I think should be, people should think that way. When I first started watching it, you don't realize that guy is a Democrat and that guy's a Republican. Because the things that they do, their policies or the things they want to push forth, Republican, you think they would ever do that?
I just have a hard time getting over the fact that Jenny is is married to the president. You know what I mean? It's like Robin Wright Penn. You see her as Jenny from Forrest Gump, and now all of a sudden she is now what role does she play? She's the first lady, right?
Right. She's the first lady.
Kevin Spacey's the president.
Kevin Spacey's the president, and they're trying she's trying to get into another office because she's afraid of Kevin Spacey. This is where I am at.
Yeah.
She's afraid that the president will not get elected for a second term, because actually he was never elected in the first place.
So let me ask you this then. There's not a whole lot of love between the first lady.
Oh
and
no,
the
it's the separate bedrooms.
It's the Clintons. It's the Clintons. It's the Clintons. See, I watch the polar opposite of House of Cards. I watch Veep.
Oh, I love that show.
Which is one of the funniest shows on television. Mm-hmm. All right, now out of Hollywood, lackluster weekend at the box office. No major blockbuster movies. People stayed home for the most part. Chappie only pulled in $13.3 million, followed by a second place finish for Will Smith's Focus. 50 Shades of Grey continues to place in the top 10. It's sitting there at number 6. SpongeBob at 5. Kingsman 4 in the second exotic Marigold Hotel in at number 3. American Sniper, though, it looks like will hold the crown for the highest grossing film released last year in North America. after passing the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 over the weekend. So the film about Navy SEAL Chris Kyle has now racked up an estimated $337.2 million domestically since its limited release on Christmas Day, over $500 million worldwide. And over the weekend, I watched Dumb and Dumber 2 for the third time, and it was funnier the third time.
I don't think I can do that.
I don't know if you're a Jim Carrey fan, but the guy doesn't have to say a word, and I'm losing it.
Yeah.
He is one of the funniest men on the planet.
We were talking about Fire Marshal Bill like a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
I mean, you gotta look back like 27 years
In
and
living
realize,
color.
and realize that he's been this way. He always will be this way.
Yeah, the Wayans brothers were the stars of that show in living color, and you had this like soul white dude making these funny faces, pretending like he got burned up in a fire, and all of a sudden Jim Carrey just explodes onto the scene, and he is the funniest man in America. He literally is, I think, the funniest guy out there. 1-800-624-1170, 304-232-9982. If you want to send me an email, it is bloomdaddy@iheartmedia.com. Coming up in the next hour, could your boss be a star in Horrible Bosses 3? A new Gallup poll saying the vast majority of bosses out there are horrible bosses. And also, I'm going to be bringing you some listener email. Also on the agenda today, alcohol. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's powdered alcohol. 3 states so far, so worried about it, they've already banned the product. And there's talk Tennessee may as well. And it's exactly how it sounds. Alcohol in a powdered form that you add liquid to. Not on the market yet, could be by spring of this year. Those who are against it, and there are a number of them, say it's going to be easier for alcohol to get into the wrong hands, particularly minors. There's also questions about how it would be regulated. And yes, I know what you're thinking right now. You can snort it, and it's going to go directly into your bloodstream, and it's going to get you majorly messed up. It would also be very easy to sneak into school, in other venues. Law enforcement right now is saying this is a gray area. So for now, they're kind of playing a wait-and-see game. But you have Virginia lawmakers who've banned it before it even hit the market. Rhode Island lawmakers are moving to ban it. As I mentioned, a number of states have already taken that route. The one area, though, where I was thinking about this, where powdered alcohol would be awesome. That is, why are you laughing at me, Big K? That is, I mean, seriously, think about this. How many times have you gone to a Steelers game or a Pirates game? What do you pay for a beer?
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
What are you paying? You were paying an outrageous amount. What, $8 for a cup of beer?
It's $9.50 for the 24-ouncer.
Okay, so you take in a couple bottled waters, you have a couple packs of alcohol, you go sit in your seat, and you have a cup, you pour your water in, you add your alcohol, and now you have a drink.
And that's probably why they want to ban it.
You're exactly right.
That's why Tennessee wants to ban it. Think about it.
Exactly right.
What do they make in Tennessee?
It's not so much about the minors, I guarantee you. It's about the fact that you're not going to be paying $8 for a beer the next time you go to a concert or a sporting event. It's 59 after the hour on your Monday morning. Top stories are right around the corner. You're listening to Bloomdaddy. Thank you so much.